Hello, everybody. Welcome to CommunityFIT. I'm James, and I'll be your host for today. Hopefully, you are having a great day. Just a little housekeeping. If you have any technical questions that pop up, you can send those over to Raymond today. He will be your go-to person if you can't hear me, if we lose connection, anything like that. And if you have any questions about things that we've done today, any questions about body stuff, movement stuff, I'll stick around for a little bit afterwards and help you however I can. So with that said, welcome to MoveLab. Super excited for you to be here today. If you are new to MoveLab, we only have one rule for MoveLab, and that rule is whatever you're doing, you are doing it correctly, because there's absolutely no wrong way to move. Today, as we explore and play, you're going to think, am I doing this right? And the answer is yes. Today's class is, well, as always, we're going to have a full body experience, a little breathing, a little nervous system toning, warm up. But we're going to focus heavily today on arms, shoulders, some upper body stuff, because for a lot of people, that seems to be an area that we're disconnected from, an area that we're lacking some understanding or at least some thought processes around. So I thought we would devote a little bit of time to that. So if this sounds like you, we've got a class ready for you. I invite you now to sit, stand, lie, be comfortable, whatever that means for you as we go into a little bit of breathing. And as I mentioned before, some nervous system warm up. So just start by taking a nice deep inhale. And then exhale. Let your posture change. Maybe you want to sit like this. Maybe it's like this today. Maybe it's like this today. Get out of your head. Quit thinking about what's the right way to sit. In fact, this feels really comfortable for me. So I'm just going to be over here breathing. Take a couple of more breaths. And as you breathe, see if you can embody, pay attention, be more aware of, feel your ribs move as you breathe. Maybe you want to use your hands. Maybe you want them on the side of the ribs, a little self-hug, whatever helps you sort of tap into an awareness of my ribs have movement. Sometimes when we think of it as a rib cage, we start thinking about locking things into place. Cages hold things into place. So instead, I often will call them a rib carriage. So as you're breathing, just let the movement of the ribs carry the breath. And then make a choice to look somewhere else in the room. And by that, I mean, let your body rotate and move and literally look for something. And then breathe there. Experience how rib movement has shifted. Couple more breaths. And then look somewhere else. Maybe even arms back, chest open, breathing there. Or forward, whatever the case may be. Just do a few more breaths as I continue to talk here. Now, it would be logical if I said, for a lot of people, if I said, well, the integrity of your arms is dependent upon rib cage and the way the ribs move and all of that. If you have a little bit of a basic understanding of how bones and muscles work together, that sounds logical. But we're going to go a step deeper. And we're going to go from an embryologic perspective. And that's just how the cells, that's how you come to be you in your mother's womb. That's the process that we all go through. And in embryology, if a cell is in relationship, if it comes from or moves or evolves grows similarly to something else, there is a lifelong relationship there. And your arms come from the same cells as your lungs, where your ribs come from the same cells as your spine. So they're different. They are embryologically different, which is not really important for you to remember. It's important for you to sort of feel and be aware of. So your breath and the way you move and how open the breathing itself is, and ribs are a good indicator of that, is hyper important to the integrity of shoulder health, arm health, wrist and hand health. Starts with breathing. So if at any point today something feels above your pay grade or just uncomfortable, or you just want to tap out, go back into this breathing thing of just sort of experiencing some breath as you move. Now bring your hands together, get them nice and warmed. We're going to take these nice warm hands and we're going to put them on the front of our throat, and we're just going to be here breathing. Few breaths into that. No need to do anything else than just let the warmth of your hands inform the front of your throat to relax, let go, release. Then take your right hand, left side of your throat, big heavy hand, dragging towards midline as I twist my face. Left hand goes under right throat, big heavy hand, twist. Right hand, big heavy hand, twist. Last one over here, left hand, big heavy hand, and twist. We're gonna take and get right into the jaw a little bit. Little self-massage right through the jaw. We're gonna take that, if I'm right where the top and bottom jaws meet, if you open and close your mouth, you'll kind of feel that where there's that joint that opens and closes. If I take and massage underneath my ears to the back of the neck, I'm going to notice that right in alignment with that jaw is sort of upper neck, low skull area. So I'm just going to kind of massage that. They're in alignment with one another. So I just want that tissue to begin to kind of release and let go. Now, because we are going to be working through shoulders and neck and stuff today, we have to massage or be aware of a very important area of the body: eyebrows and forehead. There's a fascial connection, a connective tissue connection that goes from the head through the spine down the back. And often, if we're carrying tension through our eyebrows, if we're squinting at screens and such, we will begin to carry tension all the way through the neck and the shoulders and the back. So just kind of getting above the eyebrows, and then even if you want to take your thumbs and even kind of below the eyebrows, above the eyes, just do a little massage action through there. And I'm being really generic with it. There's much more specific protocols, but this is sort of the general. And then I can just take and kind of tap the top of my head to the back of the neck, top of the head to back of the neck. Then slide your legs out in front of you. Put your hands on the front of your legs and just slide in the direction of your toes. Now, if you know my paint visual, you can go there. If not, just put your hands on the legs and just kind of give your legs a massage as you go forward and back. For 4, and 3, 2 more. Good. Let's take our left arm behind us, put it on the floor, twist to take a look at it. Take an inhale while you're back here. Exhale. Other side. Twist. Take a look. Nice deep inhale. Twist. Take a look. Last one. Twist. Take a look. Good. Okay, from there, we're going to take the right hand, and you have your collarbone, which goes, my chest bone is right in the middle. That's your sternum. Collarbone goes from that over into the shoulders. So you're just going to take and massage through the collarbone. Now, I mentioned already that the arm belongs to the lung. They're cellularly connected from a very, very young age, like 4 weeks old, inside of your mom. Often we think, oh, shoulder blade, the scapula, it gives us arm integrity. That feels like the most important thing. When in fact, the bone of support for the arm, the bone of awareness for the arm, collarbone. So to kind of just wake this up by rubbing, touching, massaging it, feels really important to me. You've got your pec underneath it. You've got some throat muscle above it. I can take and put one hand on the bottom of that collarbone, one hand on the throat, and kind of drag and pull them away from each other. Often if you have some neck tension and some shoulder tension, this feels really important. I can do it on the other side. I can start off with a little massage. And we are giving extra attention to this today, to this awareness portion, simply because so many of us have shoulder issues, neck issues, arm, elbow, wrist issues, because we don't know how all of this fits together. So we're going to take some time kind of mapping it out in our brain. And the beautiful thing is you don't have to know anatomy. This is not a course in kinesiology. But I just want you to remember that next time you've got neck pain, shoulder pain, arm pain, upper back pain, there are things that you can do super simple. And it's this. Again, I can kind of put a hand there, get a little stretch going. Then I'm going to take my left hand. This is my pec muscle right on the front of the chest. If I reach my right arm out to the side, I take my left hand and kind of grab onto that pec muscle. It doesn't matter if it's a big muscle, if it's a little muscle. I'm sticking my fingertips sort of in my armpit. And if I take my arm down and I kind of push my arm to the floor, I should feel some muscle contract underneath this hand. When I lift this arm up, it should be like that muscle unravels or becomes a straighter line. The pec muscle is pretty cool because it wraps and unwraps. It wraps and unwraps. What I want to do is just sort of open this up. This area gets really congested because we have so much forward posture in our society. We get kind of stuck there. So just pulling this away from the ribs, from the collarbone, from the armpit, which houses a lot of nerves and muscle, or a lot of nerves and blood vessels in there, feels really important before we start getting into how to build up endurance and strength around the arm. So I'm just sort of massaging through there. Then I can do the other side. And again, you don't need to be a massage therapist. Any little bit of touch is probably better than what you're doing now, or regularly. The body responds to touch. Even if you just touched, even if you just held there and lifted up your arm, the body's going to go, oh, thank you for touching me. Good. Then I'm going to just pick a shoulder, just do some shoulder circles there. You don't have to follow any specific cues. We're not doing anything. We're simply choosing to move an area of the body. Then I can say, well, can that decision to move the shoulder, can it move the full collarbone on that side? And you can see that starts to bring some ribs along. And I want to take it as far back as I do forward, as far back as I do forward. And then reverse. And I'm thinking of this movement now, not just as a shoulder movement, but as a collarbone to rib to lung movement. Maybe I want to breathe into that. Maybe I want to breathe and kind of feel where my ribs are moving. And what you're watching is my body do this. Your body doesn't have to look like that. Maybe this is appropriate for you. And then switch the other side. In reverse. there, pick a direction to sit on your mat or your area and put your arms behind you. Maybe you feel most comfortable having your knees bent. Maybe you're a leg straight person. You decide. From there, do your hands feel comfortable? Fingers out, fingers back, fingers forward. What works best for you right now? And then do a full shoulder slump. Sink into that. Then think to yourself, kind of tap your fingers against the ground. Push, 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 and breathe into the ribs. Exhale, sink, and soften into the shoulders. Push, 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 and sink and soften. Push, 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 push. Maybe that's enough. Maybe you also want to push with the legs and keep pushing with your arms until you've reached the highest you can go today. And then sink through the legs, and then make the decision to sink through the arms. There's an arm thing, body to leg thing. One more. Good. Go ahead and lie all the way down. Take both arms, stretch them out over your head. Reach the left one further and notice how that brings some ribs with it. Or if it doesn't, allow it to bring some ribs upwards or in the direction of your hand towards that wall. Then other side. And then other side. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Reach both arms. Take and see if you can get your fingertips to the floor without letting too many ribs come off the ground. Keep your fingertips on the floor as you circle your hands out to the side towards your hips and right back up. 2 more. 1 more. Take your arms up and to your hips. Now, in order to lift your arms up, think my ribs sink to the floor. My collarbone sinks to the floor. Then as your hands go down, my collarbone gets to lift open. In order to lift my arms, my collarbone sinks into the floor, gets heavy and weighty. Remember, cardinal rule for MoveLab, in order for something to go up, something's got to go down. As my arms go down, the collarbone can lift, relax, get wide. My collarbone sinks to the floor. As my arms go down, the collarbone relaxes up. For a lot of bodies, this is intense work to just kind of feel and make the connection of, oh, look at that. Collarbone and lungs are connected to arms. 1 more, each direction. Now get yourself set up for your bridge, whatever that looks like for you today. Push down to go up. Now, in order to come up more, allow the collarbone to get wider and lift the collarbone up in the direction of the ceiling. You'll notice your shoulders begin to push down more. My chin lifts. I look backwards a bit, and then I sink back down. Sometimes we stop bridges before we make it arm work. Make it arm work. It's part of the process. collarbone gets wide. I push my armpits into the floor. And then I come back down. One more. And I'm all the way down. Turn over onto your stomach. I'm gonna face this way so that you can kind of watch me go through this. Okay, I'm up on my two arms. We've already been through a very similar process today. It's a full relax, slump down. Then push my elbows, my forearms, my hands into the ground, and I can kind of feel my shoulders become more active. They go off, and they go back on. Now, maybe this hand position doesn't work for you. Maybe you're a palms up or a palms down, or maybe you want to up level it. Maybe you just naturally default to this. What happens if you go palms down or palms up, or even asymmetrical? Now, turn them both on, all the way up. The left one turns off, back on. The right one turns off, back on. They both turn off, back on. Left one off, on. Right one off, on. Both of them off. Right one on, left one on, both off. Left one on, right one on, both off, both on, both off. Both on, both off. Left one goes on, right one goes on. Hold. Can you allow your collarbone to get wider and float up a little bit more, like two helium balloons lifting towards the ceiling? Notice how in my body, that's more upper back contraction, more upper back extension, cow shape. As I relax the collarbone, they both turn off. Collarbone takes me up. I can send my collarbone to the right, get it soft. Back on. To the left, back on. There's an infinite numbers of ways for you to feel this and pay attention. What I'm looking for is for you to start to play. What does it feel like to turn a shoulder off and on? How is that relating to the collarbone? What do I notice and feel? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to spend about another 30, 40 seconds of you sort of playing with this. It's not about getting it right. It's about how many repetitions can I fit in that 30 to 40 seconds as I self-discover what this feels like. So keep going. Maybe play with a different hand position. And relax. Come up to hands and knees. Now that we're on hands and knees, let's go fingertips forward. If you can, toes are tucked. And we're just gonna warm up first. We're gonna go back and forth. Back, maybe a little pulse, and forth. Kind of getting the wrists and hands ready for what we're about to do. Now, find a place that's neither forward nor back and shift your body weights to the right and to the left and to the right and to the left. Right and left. Find a place that's neither right nor left in the middle. Go forward to the right, back to the left to go forward. It's like you're drawing a circle around your centered bullseye. And then reverse. Now find bullseye, middle. That's not forward, it's not back. It's not to the right, it's not to the left, but it's somewhere sort of in the middle for you. Then pay attention to collarbones. Can you allow your collarbone, I'm going to fully just kind of relax here. Can you allow your collarbones to float upwards towards the ceiling through your body as they get wider? And then release. It's like a shoulders on, shoulders off. Some of you may recognize or feel this as I push the floor away from me, but watch that it doesn't become a cat. That's a very different thing. We're up in the collarbone and how that relates. Now, what also helps me is as I float, I take an inhale. Exhale, sink. Inhale. Exhale, sink. Now, if this is hard for you and you're like, I don't even know what's happening here, I can't feel anything, play with this. Play with where's my collarbone. Play with your breath. If you're like, yep, I'm on board, I've been in MoveLab, I know what's next, lift your feet off the floor. As you go down, 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 down into your push-up and back up, think to yourself, I'm keeping my collarbone wide, I'm keeping my collarbone buoyant and lifted, I'm keeping my rib cage buoyant and lifted, and I'm resisting the urge to collapse and sink and pull up into my neck and shoulders. I'm holding the tension and buoyancy across the collarbone. Again. 2 more. 1 more. Now sit back, give your arms a shake. Maybe it's a shoulder roll, maybe it's a little self-massage. Pick another hand position. So if your hands were perfectly forward, what if they get wider than the mat and fingertips go out? What if they make a star shape in the middle? What if I go knuckles and play with it again? Can I find my collarbone here? Two more. One more. Sit back. Shoulder rolls, massage, breathing, whatever it is. Pick another hand position. Maybe now you go star-shaped, or knuckles, or closer together, or ultra wide. Where do you need to go today? And we go down. Maybe I go shallow. Maybe I go all the way. Hard to do on a slippery mat. One more of whatever it is you're doing there. Give it a shake and settle. Just rub the collarbone. And then just be there. Kind of notice whatever you notice. Where does it feel like good tension is being held? What are you more aware of? Then collect yourself on the mat, whatever feels most comfortable. As your arms float out to the side and upwards, imagine, I'm just gonna demo here, that collarbone sinks, sinks, sinks. And as your arm goes up, it lifts, lifts, lifts. Maybe there's an exhale and an inhale. Two more. One more. Bring your hands together, put them on your heart. Take a nice deep inhale into your hands, into your heart, into your lungs, into your ribs. Tell your body thank you for its wisdom. Take a look around the room. See the things that you noticed earlier. Tell the space, thank you. It was an active participant in your practice today. We're part of our world. And then take a look at anyone you see on screen with you today. Take a look at anyone in the room with you, dogs, cats, small animals included. Tell everyone in your community, thank you, because we're interconnected and we cannot do this without each other. So thank you for bringing us into your community and for joining us in ours. So thanks, everybody. Hopefully you'll join us for the rest of the week for Stress Reset and another MoveLab on Thursday. As mentioned, I'll stick around for some questions if you have any. Alicia will not be joining us today. She has another priority on the list, but she will be here the rest of the week. So I'll stick around. Thank you. Great. We have one comment here. It says, I did not get a chance to thank you for the stress course. It helped me learn to relax in dealing with COPD and recently extreme weight loss. I really appreciate it. You're welcome. If you're not joining us for Stress Reset, that's tomorrow, Wednesday and Friday, same time. Hopefully you will join us. We got a lot of thank yous. I appreciate it. Again, if you have any questions about anything we covered today or anything movement-wise, or even better, if you have anything that you'd like to learn through MoveLab, any area of the body you'd like to create a better relationship with, an exercise you'd like to create or understand better in relationship to your body, drop it in the comments, email it to us, say, hey, can we learn a little bit about this? Hey, can we learn, maybe it's shoulder or feet, ankles, maybe it's squats, maybe it's jumping jacks, maybe it's walking, maybe it's, I don't know, you tell me. We're here, we're open to suggestions. Great, very good, everybody. Thank you so much. I have tight hips and need some help. Great. I don't want to mention any names on here, but tight hips and need help. If you can email me at james@jamescrater.com and tell me more, because that's a really broad thing to say, I have tight hips. Is it tight when you walk, tight when you sit, tight in the front, tight on the side? Can you tell me more about that? James, thanks Raymond for putting that up. james@jamescrater.com. And just tell me a little bit more about that. I noticed feeling anxious in my body and resistance to movement. I moved through it and moved slower in micro movements. That worked. Great. Yes, and if you are resistant to movement, stress or anxious, Stress Reset is the class for you. There are 3 weeks of body-centered practices, and we're moving more and more into mindset-centered practices that may help you with that. Tailbone achiness. Got it. If you would like to access class recordings, please go. Raymond's got it in there. From sitting too long in my 50s. Got it. Yeah, tailbone achiness. So we had a question on tailbone achiness. On, oh man, what was it? Not last week, but the week before that. So it would be week number 2 of Stress Reset, if I remember correctly. I have an embodied meditation, a somatic meditation that is all to do with sits bones, widening, opening up. That may help. And in Stress Reset, if you have not been, we do a TRE exercise, tension and trauma release exercise that has all to do with releasing stress from the hips and the tailbone. Those might be good practices to discover. I'm interested in lower body more after you said something about the relationship from upper body stiffness comes from the low body. Got it. I'm getting ready to have gastric bypass surgery, but need to learn exercises to get rid of excess fat. Got it. Yeah, there's a question about getting rid of excess fat pooch, you know, after surgery. That is a complicated thing. My biggest suggestion, we'll have a little bit of that. The biggest suggestion I can give there is move uniquely, move different. Doing more crunches is not gonna work. Moving uniquely. So rolling exercises, big shapes, little shapes, which we'll cover even more. Big shapes, little shapes will help to innervate that tissue differently. new nerves talking to old tissue, which creates new muscle. That might be of help. Great. Okay, guys, I've got some ideas for some classes coming up, and we appreciate your time today. Thank you so much. Thank you, Raymond, for helping out today and for taking over for Alicia. I appreciate you, buddy. So hopefully we'll see you the rest of the week. We're out of here. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, James. Thanks, everyone.